Welcome back to In Your Business. This podcast, we're going to be talking about adaptability and how we have to change as a community so that we can grow. And I'm so delighted to say that I'm joined by my friend Stephanie Buckridge from the library, and my friend Jason Protzman from many different places around the community. And we're going to be talking about the library, some updates that you guys have going on as you guys have changed and started to build a new facility. And then also getting in later on with AI and how we're adapting as a business community to embrace this new technology. So I'll start by welcoming Stephanie.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And Stephanie, can you tell me a little bit about what's going on with the library, your closing, your renovations, and kind of what you guys have going on right now?
Okay. Yeah, we are closed until probably early spring next year, and we are doing a full remodel of the library. Right now, we're doing mobile programming all around Dinuba. I am trying to reach all of the corners. We're doing our pop up library here in the chamber parking lot on Wednesday mornings.
It's a party at the chamber on Wednesdays.
Wow.
And then
Guess I've been missing it.
yeah. People can pick up their holds, check out books. We have some items available. And then after we leave here, we go to Felix Delgado Park and we have story time and craft from 3 to 4. And then I'm also doing games and crafts in the park on Friday afternoons. And we're trying to reach out and get more community partners to bring more programs to Dinuba.
Yeah, I have noticed like I feel like you kind of came on, when I came on at the chamber, we were in the middle of COVID. So we've been in like this forced transition since then. And I've loved that the fact that the library has continued community programming. You always seem to find a way to make a way for families. And we just appreciate you guys so much.
We're lucky that Dinuba has a lot of beautiful parks.
Yes. Yes, we've learned to make use of the outside spaces for sure. 100%. Stephanie, while we talk about the digital age and kind of like it's so funny because I remember like Y2K back in the day. And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so
Yes.
scary."
Yeah.
And now we're talking about all these new things. Have you guys noticed that technology has made a difference in the programming or how people are using the library?
Yes, we're able to do more virtual programs, and we're able to bring programs like cooking demonstrations and craft workshops and gardening tours and things like that to the community. We are we increased our online resources when COVID hit, so that we would have more digital resources for the families. We have online tutoring services to help all ages, actually. We increased ebooks and audiobooks at the beginning of the pandemic. And then we have a live reference chat for those that have questions that can't come into the library. We still offer pickup service for those that still don't want to go out or can't go out. And then we have laptops and hotspots for those that need internet access and the tools at home that they need.
That's super cool. Jason, did you know that you can even check out passes to go to the national parks?
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Really?
We have the park passes too.
I think that is the coolest thing.
Mhm.
Like that was one of the
For
things
free?
that
Sweet.
yeah, and it's so super cool. And I just wish more people utilized that. I'm part of Sequoia Tourism too, when we were just talking about that recently. So
Mhm.
it's just a really cool
You guys have an
thing.
Instagram?
We do.
You do?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we have Instagram, we have Twitter account, and then we have a YouTube channel, and then each of our branches has their own Facebook page.
Good.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then we try to do lives and other things to try to promote what we're doing and when we're partnering with the library too and try to, just work together. Are there any plans of incorporating digital programming in the remodel itself?
Well, we're just continuing our virtual programs that we have now. We're not planning to increase any more. We're adding more technology to the library. We're adding a computer lab so that we can offer computer classes, things like that. But we'll just continue all the programs that we're doing now throughout the remodel.
Very
So,
cool. What do you think community connection kind of how that comes to play in accessing books and other information from the library? How are our partners important to the library?
well, during the pandemic, we were able to partner with the schools and link up our library card system so that kids had access to books and ebooks. That way, um, They help us get the word out about what we're doing. We partner with the schools, such as the high school. For example, the English instructor, she gives her class extra credit if they come to the library and get a library card and check out books for their reports. So that kind of helps. We share our programs. We do outreach at local events such as National Night Out, the Cinco de Mayo Festival, the Harvest Festival. We try and get out there as much as we can. Outreach is a big part of my job because the more people that know about us, the more we'll use the library. So when we have a program, we put it out library materials in physical form and in digital form. We share it across all our platforms. And sometimes we can do email blasts with the school district.
That's so cool. When I was little, well, I'm competitive and I like to win, like anything. And so, like, I remember when I was in elementary school, the big thing was Pizza Hut Book It. Do you guys remember that? The free, like, personal
Hmm.
pan pizzas,
Hmm.
and you had like the button with the stickers. And I just like
Hmm.
that was my driving force to reading, and I love to
Hmm.
read now. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that programming changed that in me as a kid, but it
Yeah.
certainly set me
It's a
off
good
to
incentive. Yeah.
it
We're
was
just
good.
starting the cover to cover, which is in and out, which is incentive. And then always for summer reading, I always partner with me and Ed's for pizza certificates for the kids that complete the program. So,
Pizza and books for the
yeah.
win. That's what
Yeah.
we've learned today
Yeah.
so far in this
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
for sure. And then making a point that one of the ways that the library gets funding is that you guys get incentivized or get funding from how many people are actually members of your library. So if you want to help out and you want to help the library, one of the easiest ways is just to get a library card.
Yes, exactly. And you can come in and volunteer. You can sign up as a volunteer and participate in all of our programs. You can join our friends group. They are our big advocate for us, do a lot of work for us and to help get the word out. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can help with the library and get involved.
That's super cool. All right, Jason, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? We kind of jumped right past you earlier, not trying to
Yeah, no,
forget
that's
about
fine.
you.
That's fine. It was really cool to hear something about the library. I've lived here 5.5 years. I'm terrible. I've like stepped in there once,
Oh,
and that was just before COVID.
yeah.
And I need to go in there because all my kids are grown now. I've got 27, 24, and 23. My 24-year-old just got engaged yesterday. But when they were, yeah,
Congratulations.
congratulations. She's super happy. But when they were growing up, we would go to the library all the time.
Hmm.
But now I don't go to the library all the time now.
Yeah.
So I need to
Yeah.
get over there.
Yeah, I mean, I started out at age 4, the bookmobile came to my neighborhood.
Oh,
That's how
cool.
I discovered the library. My siblings were at
That's so cool.
school. I was home alone with my mom, and I was just, I felt so important. I got the librarian all to myself.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
so that's just where it started, and then it just grew from there. And
You know, and the reason why I bring that up is because by the way, my name is Jason Protzman. I'm the associate pastor at Living Word Fellowship. I have the honor of serving there and love our wonderful people that we get to minister to and love on. Another thing that I really like to do is serve on the board at Dawnings Pregnancy Resource Center. And Dawnings is also a thing that a lot of people don't know about. And hearing you talk about the library makes me want to talk about Dawnings. And so it's an awesome resource for moms. It's an awesome resource for fathers. It's an awesome resource for before, during, and after pregnancy. And we partner with churches. We partner with community members. We had our largest banquet this past November, raised the most money, had the most people. We're super excited about that. And it's really cool. God's doing some really cool stuff in our church. We're seeing growth coming back from this wonderful pandemic that we were a part of. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. That was the worst, man, because none of us have ever done it before.
No,
So what do you do?
that's not something that I want to try to
No,
be the first
yeah.
at.
And it was difficult because we were like even talking this morning. I was talking to some other pastors, and it's like we didn't know what we were doing. So what was right? What was wrong? What was good? What was bad? And it was difficult. It was difficult to navigate. And And some people thought you were nuts because you stood on this side of the aisle, or because you thought you should have been on that side of the aisle. And it was crazy. And speaking about digital, it's like you go on digital stuff and it's everything's attacking each other, except we need to come together.
Oh, we have
And
5-year-olds that are depending on digital age for resources for learning,
sure.
and parents that aren't computer savvy trying
Yeah.
to
Taking their
navigate.
Chromebooks home.
Yeah, it
It,
was
it was
absolutely
crazy.
crazy.
So now we've at Dawnings, I'm super excited to be a part of it because I've always been that's always been at my heart. Is my sister-in-law got pregnant when she was 14, and so it's always been part of my heart to minister to the unborn, but also to minister to fathers too. Dawnings goes into a very analog, but it's so needed. We go into Teen Challenge and we teach fathering classes, which is really cool. So, but we're excited. We really are. We feel like things are really starting to get exciting again, and so we'll see what happens.
And then, Stephanie, you guys work with a lot of young families too.
Mhm.
So families that are still trying to find their way, and you guys are really focused on increasing literacy and learning
Mhm.
in the Dinuba community. So we just appreciate the work that you guys do for that.
I'm also a Yankee fan too, so
Controversial. Go Braves. So while we're kind of talking about, coming together as a community and learning and things that we don't know, which is one of my favorite things to say. I don't know what I don't know. We've got all this new AI stuff. So, and I say new, it's not really new because we've been doing things like, Google has transitioned over the last 5 years. Our phones, our Apple phones are even things like Grammarly. Like a lot of us, especially in the business community, are using Grammarly to check our beautiful punctuation that for some reason, even with all the education that we have, we still can't figure out how to use a comma. Galen Kias is here with us. He is part of an online gaming community, and we're kind of all just going to have a roundtable discussion now about how businesses and our community members might be able to harness some of these tools to help us move along into the next age, the next digital age. I feel like that's just like a Y2K like frontline like a scare tactic.
I remember Y2K. We had to type in 2000 to see if our computers would crash.
Oh yeah.
I remember doing that.
I remember buying Y2K compliant curling
Yes.
irons. So
Crazy.
like getting past like the scare tactics that are everything that's technology. Like one of the ways that the chamber uses AI, well, we use Constant Contact. So we send out programming and newsletters, and then we can use things like ChatGPT to help write content or help give us content ideas that might be interesting to businesses. I actually just helped a restaurant recently upload their menu and some of their food costs, and ChatGPT helped analyze their food costs and made recommendations on how they could minimize what they were doing so that they could make a better profit. So there's definitely resources available out there. Galen, can you tell me a little bit about some of the programming you guys might use in the online gaming community?
So we use Descript and Jasper a lot. Jasper, more of a school application. We've been using it to write a lot of classes for online esports classes, along with STEM classes. Descript is basically an editing software AI. We've been using that a lot. You throw a video in it, it'll take whoever's talking in it, write a script, and you can sit there and edit it. It's been super helpful with this podcast and all the other videos and everything else we do.
Yeah,
So it basically transcribes something.
it does.
Cool.
And it can write like a transcription from a meeting, like if you record a meeting. But it also, my favorite thing, and this is really a dumb thing for it to be my favorite thing, but it removes all of my ums and ahs. So if I'm like, it'll just magically make my ums disappear. And that makes me feel so much more confident just in general.
So now we're exposed.
Yeah, we're exposed.
That's why we don't have ums and
And Oz, they're
us
going to go
and
back and listen to past podcasts. And then they're like,
sometimes.
it's sometimes. So But there are really great things. I know that there's some concerns like on the education side of, how does this change and affect our education? But Stephanie, you and I had a conversation about research
Mhm.
and research is still so necessary. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's great, but sometimes students don't know exactly what to look for or how to find it. So that's where librarians can step in. Our reference staff can step in, help them find. Just depends, you know, what they're searching for. Sometimes you have to get more specific. Um, you need more detail. Sometimes we just give them a little reference interview and say, well, what exactly are you looking for? And what's the topic? And, what era? Just trying to get down to it. And that helps. And then we can help them find, exactly what they need because,
because you can have all the AI in the world, but if
yeah,
you don't know what you don't know,
right.
it's hard
And
to write anything.
yeah. And you have to, make sure that you have a reliable source and not just
Oh, reliable
something.
sources.
So that
That's a
is
really good point. Like
yeah.
like on Facebook, like everybody that shares news articles that they have no sourcing for, that's just bad news altogether. Chat GPT can be used in the same way. Sometimes if you queue it incorrectly or just queue it correctly, it comes up with bad information. So how do you source that out? Well, you can ask Chat GPT or Jasper, what did they use to come up with, like, what were the sources used for this answer? And it'll return that information to you. But it's due diligence too, right?
Mhm.
Like you have to put the work in
Right.
to figure
Exactly.
out if the information that you're writing is correct. So
Not
that's so
all
important.
AIs give you sources either.
Right.
No,
Jasper doesn't give you sources at
Mhm.
all,
Jasper will give you sources if you ask. You have to queue it.
but not always.
No. No, not always, and it won't always give you a complete source. Like it won't quote it. So yeah. The other ways that we can use AI is idea prompting. Like if you wanted to say, give me 5 ideas for um, a business podcast episode, it will shoot you out ideas. So just like creativity queuing sometimes is really helpful because sometimes like decision making like just paralyzes you in business and being able to come up with quick ideas for games during a training session or something like that is really helpful.
How is it different from using Chat GPT to using a search engine like DuckDuckGo or Google or
It
like
really
that?
isn't. In fact, I think that you'll see that Google and Bing specifically have already started using ChatGPT, incorporating it in their search engine. Where like you'll say, like let's say we're asking what the last day of school is for Dinuba, and you search that in, it'll give you a summary instead of referencing where like a website where you would find that information. It gives you a summary and the little blurb at the top
Cool.
of the thing. It was super cool.
So
But
it's a little bit more focused.
it is very focused, which helps me, but I think it's helpful on the user end, but on the SEO end of how our websites are prepared, that's something that's going to be challenging. We're going to have to rethink because people are saying, "Alexa, tell me this and that," or "Siri, tell me X, Y, and Z," and giving that answer. So is it as important to have that information on your website? Maybe not, or maybe it just looks differently in the future. And speaking of websites, AI can even build websites now. So there's all sorts of free tools available now where you can either build your SEO or you can build your website, you can build logos, flyers, there's all sorts of things. Canva, I don't know, Jason, do you
Mhm.
guys use
I use
Canva?
Canva.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Canva for the win. Canva was my win for last year. And now Canva is incorporating AI in their back end too to help script things and help do predictive text
Mhm.
on their end, and that stuff has just kind of been helpful for sure. But what other tools, like electronic tools, do you guys use? You use Canva. What else do you
Yeah,
use?
gosh, I don't know. We're just basically using Canva and Adobe, and we use YouTube, we use Twitter. I mean, all of the platforms that we can to get the word out. And another thing about that is if you search for something on there, it will tell you, I don't have an answer for that. If you try to use it as a search engine, certain specific things.
Different AI tools are
Yeah.
not connected to
Yeah.
like the search engine tool. And then it's kind of like, it reminds me of an AI robot where it's just like, that is not the right question. And then
Hmm.
so like, what is the right question? So learning to queue is important. I've found that when you're queuing, if you ask it to be an expert at something or from the perspective, so write a paragraph that's 300 words or so many character, whatever that is, from the perspective of a student that is trying to explain to a teacher about the history of X, Y, and Z. So if you can be as specific in the way that you cue it, or say from a teacher's perspective or an expert in the field of travel, why would somebody want to visit Dinuba?
Hmm.
Or why is the Central Valley so important to agriculture in our country? But from an expert perspective, is a great way to kind of get it to find the right answer.
Yeah, and a fun way for me is I can just ask it, what lists some authors that are similar to James Patterson.
Oh,
If someone needs a reader's advisory, something new to read, they want a new author, but they like a certain genre,
give me
you
a
know,
list of 10
and
books
You
that are similar
you can even tell it an AI to write it like give it an author and tell it write a story about this
in
in
that
that
tone.
person's perspective,
Mm.
and then
That's
we'll
pretty
write a whole
cool.
new book.
Yeah.
You can do it with music too.
Yeah, you could have it rewrite songs,
right.
like rewrite this song with this perspective or with a different tone. There's some fun things that we can certainly do with it. Um Concerns, like what are concerns that you guys
So
think?
that was something I was just thinking of is me being a pastor living in a very analog world, if you will. We've gone live stream. COVID forced us to do that. The pandemic forced us to do that. But we've done live stream, done podcasts. We're very active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and so we've done all of that. But as a pastor, my one of my joys is to meet people and talk with people and to shake hands and to obviously counsel and minister and guide and direct and protect and what a pastor ought to be doing.
Hmm.
And so my mind goes to how can I use this for our church? How can I use this for Dawnings Pregnancy Resource Center? But on the other flip side of it, my wondering, I think to myself, okay, who's listening to me now? Who's on the other end of this? And being an '80s child, I grew up watching Terminator, and a Skynet is going to come and learn so much
That's
that
great.
Skynet's going to be machines, and machines are going to take over the world in 2032 as it was in Terminator, and we're going to see
Jason,
Arnold
you're getting way too
Schwarzenegger.
excited about that.
Well, some of my favorite
Yeah.
movies, man. It's cool, but it's what my mind. But
So it's learned.
scaling it back, I mean, it's like is it learning, and when does it stop learning? I think the a conspiracy theorists might say, well, I would never use that, but you use your phone all the time, and your phone is programmed to learn you. But at the same time, there's a limit to your phone. But what does this look like? And so I can just hear some people in our church, Pastor, I ain't ever using that thing, man. Forget that. That's coming to learn. Next thing you know, they're going to be looking inside my home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And I think that we've heard that. We had a discussion in one of the chamber groups on Facebook just recently, and one of the prompt question for that week was how many chambers are using
cool.
AI in their chambers. And so many, I can't tell you, so many people
Really?
responded, we're concerned about using this because we're worried that it's going to stifle creativity. We're worried that the information that we're writing is going to be copyright, and we're not going to know that. And so these are things, these are
Hmm.
real concerns, right?
Hmm.
We want to be able to use this like a calculator. But we don't want to rely on this as the end all be all. We want to use this to make us more productive, so that especially the small businesses, many of our members are only employ 1 to 2 people, and so if we free them up to be able to do other things,
Mhm.
it can write business plans for them. It can write grants for nonprofits. It
Wow.
can, yeah, these are things that could free us up. Is it perfect? No. And so coming back to we still need people. We still need
Hmm.
people to
Still
review
need to
it.
double check it.
Yep, we still need to double check it. We still need to look through it and make sure that it has a personal voice. I think that's my biggest concern. Are we going to lose that personal voice in all this? I hope not, because it's one of my favorite things about my job, working with people, and I get to work with you guys, and I hope that we don't lose that personal touch. That when we're writing resumes, that story about who Jason is still comes across in his resume, and it's not just a bunch of keywords that are there to trick a computer.
Hey, Stephanie, you being a librarian, and obviously you're a very analog person because of the books right in front of you, right? How does this benefit you?
Well, it helps us in a lot of ways because we have a lot of students that come in and ask for help with a research paper. I
Okay.
don't know where to begin.
Okay.
Um, it helps. We can help find a topic. We can help narrow it down. We
Hmm.
can help them find resources. The thing that concerns me is that if instructors need to check for plagiarism, their colleges,
Oh, yeah.
they have
It gets
to.
inserted.
Yeah, so they just have to, be careful with that, but, for us, we're more, just hands-on with people. We're not as techy as the other businesses, things like that, because 'cause we're more,
Right, but you still
l
have people like on TikTok that are doing like reviews of
right,
books. And it's
right.
interesting because I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about the worry that things like libraries would go away or those kind of things.
Yeah,
But we thought this people were saying the same thing about radio when television came out.
Yeah.
Like somehow we
mhm.
we still managed to hang on to the
We
nostalgia
st-
of these things. I hate using my Kindle.
we
I
still
love
have
to read.
newspapers and we have the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
we are busier than ever, with our computer usage, with the programs that we have, we do copy services. We help them with printing. We help with just about everything. We have books, we have music, we have movies, newspapers, magazines. I mean, we have it all, and we're busy. We're busier than ever. So I don't think the libraries are ever going to go away
No.
because and not to mention, we have a lot of people that like ebooks, they like audiobooks. So we have our online resources. They don't even have to come to the library. The
Oh,
books are
wow.
their ebooks are automatically returned after 3 weeks or renewed. You don't have to worry about returning it. I mean, it's just so convenient. And then having the Libby app, all the books are free. So everything that we do in the library, there's never a charge. So
Yeah, and
I just
one of the cool AI things that I found, I have disability, so I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD, and one of the things that I really think is cool is that I can read through something and then have AI summarize it for me so that I can retain better what I've read. So if it's an article, if it's something I'm attached to emotionally, I don't have any problem remembering what it is. But if it's a hard read, if it's one of those hard to swallow reads that I'm not quite grasping, having a summary at the end is really helpful for me.
Cool.
So it
I,
helps me remember
I
that.
don't, I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I was ADD before ADD was cool.
Yeah.
I used to be called out Chihuahua and crack.
which all of it is the same now,
Yeah,
apparently.
apparently.
Yeah.
And so hearing you say that, it's one of those things where I'm like, I have to really focus myself. I think that's why we're friends, Heath, is
Yeah.
because we're like,
Let's do it.
It's over there.
Mhm.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah, and so I think that this does open up some tools with people with disabilities for sure. It makes it really easy for and I think of dyslexia and ADHD as a functional disability, but there are certain people that have more difficulties with other things and reading, and I think that this really does open up some great avenues for success for people that might not have been prone to be able to read in the past. So I'm really excited about that. I also think, going back to like the business plan, that hairdresser that might not have a huge business sense, but knows that they love that they to do what they want to do, being able to write a business plan, being able to look at their cost and their employee costs, their labor costs, and have a program that breaks that down for them is incredibly, incredibly helpful. So yeah. So I guess that's it. That's probably our podcast for the day. It sounds like this is going to be an ongoing discussion. If anybody has any ideas that they or questions that they'd like to know more about AI, please reach out. Stephanie, you guys are going to be a permanent fixture in the chamber parking lot
Yes.
for the next little bit. We're really excited about the plans and the renovation plans for the library. That is going to be a beautiful community center, and I am here for it 100%.
Stephanie, is there some place where we could look online to see what the building plans are going to be, what it's going to look like?
I don't think they're online, but we post updates periodically when they have weekly meetings, and they just had one yesterday, and we post pictures of as the progress as it's going on. But I haven't had anything posted yet this week. So
I asked that question to the school superintendent about the new high school, and he said, I'm going to post it right now. And I looked and it was there. So it was kind of cool for us as taxpayers to be able what the new one's going to look like.
yeah,
That's
it was
cool. That creates excitement.
so many pages that
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
it's
And
yeah.
it's changed. I think
Yeah.
the last version I have of that, so I think it's changed
It,
since then.
yeah, it's been changed, and they're working on landscaping changes now.
Very cool. That's
So
exciting.
yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
It is super cool.
So
Good for you.
So updates for Chamber is we're getting ready for Cinco de Mayo, which is May 5th and 6th. Applications for vendors are out already. So if you'd like more information about that, please give the Chamber office a call. And then I think that's about it for right now, just not to overwhelm everybody. And we will see you guys next time.